This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar Introduction to Google Cloud Platform. So, it was supposed to be on first. It was postponed because I was not feeling well. So we are going to understand in this webinar about Introduction to Cloud Platform. So before we start, let me talk about Micronet. So this online webinar is organized by Micronet IT Solutions. So Micronet is an IT solutions provider. It was founded in 1999 by a group of professionals with technical and domain expertise. It's an 18-year-old company with experience and robust team of efficient people serving clients across the globe. So it's one of the leading companies, and you can follow us using website, Facebook, and these. And we also request you to fill in the form, Google Cloud Platform, so we can share you the details of the recording. So let me just ping you this link. So if you need the recording, I request you to Ramesh, I'm not getting an option to paste it.
Yeah, I have.
Okay,
I will say.
So please use this. Yes. Okay, I don't have option to send the message. I'm not getting an option because I need to answers or something, right? Okay, I got it. So please fill in this form in case if you want to get in the recordings, and for further communication, request you to fill in this form. Saying this, let's start. So a brief about myself. I'm a trainer and a consultant, 20 years of IT experience on multiple cloud and DevOps technologies. I've conducted 100 plus trainings on cloud, DevOps, Docker, Kubernetes, and Linux. I've also presented multiple sessions on these same technologies. I'm certified in AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, and also in DevOps. And a brief about myself. So what are we going to learn today? Full screen, okay. Yes, is it clear? So what are we going to learn today? We're going to learn about what and why is Google Cloud Platform. We'll also learn about the features and benefits of Google Cloud Platform, how Google Cloud data centers work, that is regions and zones and also edge locations, how to work with Google Cloud projects and permissions. We'll also see how to access your Google Cloud Platform, for example, using a console and using something like SDK, like a G-Cloud, for example. And we'll also briefly see about the various services of Google Cloud. And we will learn about Google Cloud Compute Engine, what is Google Compute Engine, what are the types in it. And we will end up by doing a demo of how to create your VM in Google Cloud, how to log in, and also how to install a simple application and see the details. And in the end, so in between, so once we do till here, we'll be having FAQs. I'm talking about all the 3D part, so that we have a flow. And again, after the demo, you can ask me questions. Yes, this is the agenda for today. So let me start. The first one is about what is and why Google Cloud Platform. So I'm just showing the slide, but I'm going to use everything from the website of Google so that you have clarity. The first one is, this is a website of Google Cloud, cloud.google.com. You could find in all the information of Google Cloud, for example, how to get started, which clients uses Google Cloud. You can see the customer case studies, and this is where you can find in the details of the infrastructure. So the home page, you could see lots of information. This is the home page. And now let's look into what is Google and why Google. So let me click on choosing the Google Cloud. So first one, why people prefer Google Cloud is for scalability. And second one is it is highly secure. It's highly secure, and your applications are hosted on Google's private network. So the same network which is being used, the same would also be used, and it's a layer network. They're compliant, and they have very good tools for monitoring, for example, logging, and they follow highly secure like a SOC 1. They're completely certified on whatever is required. So it's a completely trustable cloud, and it also works on open source. So lots of reasons why you want to go for Google Cloud. You can see all you can see in this. So benefits, for example, you can start off with open source. Open source, it's more into open source. So open source means it is very easily integrated with any technologies. And you need not worry about, for example, if I'm thinking about if I'm using Google Cloud, what about the workload? Not to worry. Since it's open source, it is going to help you to move across to any platforms. So this is what I'm talking about. So you can also go to Open Cloud, in which you can learn about how open your cloud is. So you could not worry about, in case you're using multi-cloud, not to worry about. You can have the workloads anytime move across different workloads with the cloud. And so open source is the main. And Google Cloud is all about in the background of containers. And it's quite easy to start off. And you also have a free tier. For example, you can sign up for free tier for $300 for 1 year, and you can start working on. This is all upon the open source and security, why Google Cloud is thriving or becoming one of the top most. It's still down. I mean, you can talk about this Azure. Google Cloud is after Azure, but still they're coming up very good because of these specifics. And they have lots of services. So they have lots of services which are going to look into it. So first thing is, this is where you can see about what is this. And the trust and security talks about everything about their compliant, everything you can see about here. Trust and security, they're quite privacy, and they are quite compliant. So what was compliance you require? For example, if you want to have a data in Europe, Google Cloud has data centers in Europe, which is GDPR, for example, Safe Harbor law, and they are PCI DSS compliant. What are certificates required for customers in the specific regions? They are compliant, and even their infrastructure is quite compliant. And lots of customers, starting from financial customers, health and waste, government, any type of customers, they would go. Normally, we would think why financial services normally do not go, but based on these advantages of security, they are starting moving on to Google Cloud. For example, Paytm is right now on Google Cloud. So you could get in lots of information about all these things in here. So this is in brief about why. So these are 3 reasons: trust and security and open cloud. These are reasons why Google Cloud is becoming quite famous. Now let's understand about their global infrastructure. Global infrastructure, it means the infrastructure is talking about where do they have the data centers and how is this. So for example, any Google Cloud data centers is very, very environment friendly. And they follow all those methods to reduce the heat, power, cooling. So they all are very environment friendly. So as of now, today they have 61 zones and over 31 points of presence. I'm talking about edge locations, and they have data centers across the world. So how to know? When I click this, so you can look into all these locations where they have. So let me show you these details. So they have 23 regions, 70 zones, 148 locations, your CDNs. And this is the locations where they have it. So the blue ones are established regions. And in India, you have in Mumbai, a new one is coming in Delhi. So initially it was all in US. And you also see the white ones are coming up very soon. So they are expanding on a daily basis. And you need to understand unlike other clouds, even in here, all the regions does not support all the services. So you might want to look into the product available regions. For example, if you want to deploy compute engine is very similar to your VMs. So VMs will be almost available in all of them. But if you go to advanced functions, for example, cloud functions like your serverless, you find it very few. So when you want to work with your global cloud and you want to design, for example, an architect, you first need to decide as to which region. For example, if the customer is in US, for example, in Oregon, you want to very close to it, you want to deploy customer resources or Google Cloud in somewhere here. And again, in this might be you want to look into whether the service what the customer is requiring, do you have it? So you want to look into all this where you can find for every region whether they have a service. Then you can also go into network. They also have a very good network. So they have very good interconnectivity across data centers. So as all you're going to use fiber optic cable. And for example, let's consider that Netflix, for example, something like this, wherein people across the world would see the videos. It is not feasible for them or Netflix to host the videos in each and every location, correct? So it might be costly. So this is where you want to use edge location. Edge locations, what you see in here are like Icmp, for example, the CDNs. Wherein if the data is in India, it would get cached to this location and the users would get the data very fast. For example, within India, you have lots of edge locations. So even before going into that, you see here, even before going to Mumbai, you can also get it from the edge location. So they have very good network and you can see details about where they have all the information under the network. And you have global products. So global product you're talking about like network is a global product. And within, again, they have some services which is zone specific. So you have different types of products offered by Google Cloud. The same thing I've depicted here. So they have across the world. This keeps on changing based on their, so you always want to refer the Google Cloud website. So the data centers are they have data centers across the world. They have very good backbone, as you saw, network, point of presence across the world. And this is where the caching happens so that the application performance is very good. Now, regions and zones are, region is something, for example, if you choose Mumbai, it means that data centers of Google Cloud is somewhere close to Mumbai. And each region would have multiple zones. So for example, let's consider like Mumbai, it might be in Pune also. Okay, a few might be in Mumbai also. So logical grouping of data, and in these locations, you have the physical buildings in which they have data centers. That logical grouping of the data centers is called a zone. And collection of zones is called a region. So unlike other clouds here also, any data transfer within the cloud, within your region would be zero cost. And across a region which it needs to go through internet, it's also chargeable based on the traffic it goes. So for example, VPC network in Amazon, for example, in Azure, it is region specific, but here you have global. Regional is your subnets. And instances is part of a zonal concepts. So a bit of changes would be there compared to other clouds. For example, in your Google Cloud, you can create a custom, I think it's still not in AWS, but still you can create a custom VM. So there is some changes between other clouds. And they are very environmental friendly, as you saw in the diagram, very environment friendly. And they have received so many certifications for their environmental responsibility. Now let me go back and talk about the products and pricing. First, let me talk about products so that you can get a little more pricing. So the pricing is all about pay per use. So pay per use means it's again pay per second, for example. You use it for an hour and you get charged for so many number of seconds. And in a cloud, the main advantage is you need not put any capex, correct? It's all opex, so no upfront cost. So you have on demand. On demand is your pay as you go. And you're not worried about if once you terminate, no issues, not to worry about the termination fees. And they have in some innovations. For example, let's consider that you have created a VM of N2 micro size. You use it for 1 month or 2 months continuously. So you get a discount on the cost since you ran the workloads continuously. They also have something like a spot which is preemptible, wherein it's very, very cheap and it could be interrupted. So it's a risk. So you might want to take a risk of it, but it's very, very cheap. And it's all pay per second model. Pay per second is, for example, how many seconds it's running, you get charged. And again, in your archive, you have some types that are very, very cheap. And you can create a custom machine. So for example, let's consider that you have different sizes, but it cannot sometimes be exactly very specific on the size what your cloud provides. So you want to choose custom machine type, which helps you to save on cost. This is one reason why you can think about this is comparison. Sometimes this is much more cheaper compared to Amazon sometimes. And you can again go for committed like a reserved option where you can discounts. You also get options wherein you can refer the documentation and they will sell you, or when you run a VM, they would have an option wherein they will on the right side on the console, why don't you make it small? So recommendations of it. You also get notifications. So lots of features getting added because they're very good in AI and machine learning. Google is all about this. So because since they're using this in the background containers, you would find lots of features being added in Google Cloud. So they are very good in price, faster. It boots very, very fast. In general, all the disks are default SSDs. So SSDs are quite faster. And they use machine learning internally for everything to be optimized. And hence, and you have, for example, you want to understand how to calculate the cost, what is getting for the services. So you have a free pricing calculator. So for example, when you click on the pricing calculator, it's going to ask you how many instances I want, for example, one instance. And you give the details, just an example, add to estimate. So like this, you can add in whatever services you want and same what other provides, and you can get the estimate and you can share this. So pricing is all about, and for each and every, you can also skip. So when you go to price list, you can look into the details of each and every service price. Yeah, for example, if I want to look into API compute, so let me compute. So you can see the complete details of each and every machine types, E2, N2. So we're going to talk about types. So each one, you can again see the costly, monthly, hourly, all this could be seen. So documents is quite good. And also once you log in a console, they give recommendations, lots of learning options, everything you can see from here. So pricing is, this is all about your pricing. So you can go back in here, pricing, your calculators. And when you sign up for a free account, you get in $300 US. It means that you don't get charged extra in this cloud. For example, it's not like you have to go on to a free tier, not to worry. But still you want to look into which is lesser or this. Or you also have some free services. But in brief, once the $300 US going to go off from your account, you need to move to a different one. That is how it works. And you also have some free products. So you have some free products, and the details, when you click on view details, you can see which is free, which is not free, all the information. 12 months, the time from which you create an account, 12 months is there. And you get a very, very minimal support. You get a very, very minimal support. So for example, when you go to support of this, so go to support plans. Support plans. The default is your basic, which you get. So basic, it means that you can just raise and question, not much. And so customers, for example, let's consider that you're doing a POC. I have 1 year, let me choose this. And then they start moving on to developer support or production support or premium support. So you have different options, either you can choose. Again, this comes with specific, yeah, so let me just, so each one comes with a different option. You sign up for this. And your documentation, all these things, you can see it from here. So what are the things they have? So for example, GCP 1D, they also support for G Suite. You can see the details about the premium features, what they have. These are your premium features and all, you can look into it. This all talks about the cost, all the details. So this is in brief about the pricing. Let me, so anytime I want to go back to home page, I click on this. This is how we can browse it to the home page. And again, in pricing, we've seen this. So Google Cloud supports all types of services, starting from a compute, storage, databases, whatever you want, they have services. And under featured products, you can see all the important services. Okay, compute engine, all these important services. So compute engine is the same as your VMs. Cloud storage is something like your S3 or your Azure blobs. SDKs is wherein I can access from my console. I'm talking about your CLI, I'm talking like a command line. So you have inbuilt, again, you have inbuilt command lines in the Google Cloud Console. SQL is your managed services for schema based like MySQL, Postgres, SQL Server. Google Kubernetes Engine, wherein you can create the orchestration of your containers. Bigquery for data warehouse. CDNs for your edge locations. Data flow is for your big data. And operations includes monitoring, logging, all those things. I'll again come back. So first, when you go to compute, you can see compute, app engine, related to all related to compute. You see here, you also have bare metal, wherein I can have a dedicated mission. And preemptible VMs, your spot instances. So you have different types. So each one, whichever you want, you just click on. For example, I want to learn more about this. I click on the product, and it is going to open the product page of it. It's going to talk about what is the product. Yeah. So you have storage, cloud storage like NFS or EFS, persistent storage. This is for object storage. This is for your file share. And this is for your persistent storage, like your EBS. Then under databases, you have big table, which is for NoSQL, which is normally used for big data. You have lots of NoSQL because NoSQL is more scalable, correct? So you do not always want to use it. So in NoSQL and non-SQL, they have multiple services like cloud big table, then you have cloud data store, Firestore, lots of things, because that is what is the future. For example, Cassandra and all the databases is something that I'm talking about. It's very easily modifiable and easily scalable. And you also have your cache mechanism, wherein if your database, normally, for example, let's use Cloud SQL. The data from databases, it's from a disk base, correct? It takes some time. So instead of that, you can use your memory store, which can get the data quite fast. It supports Redis, which is your open source database engine. In networking, the main thing is your virtual private cloud. So what is this? You can create a network and define what range you want inside this. And your load balance, global balancing is your global load balancers you have. So you can load balance across regions. and CDNs and DNS. And if you want to connect from on-premises, you can use this. These are important. Other things are very specific. For example, this is for your security. And NAT is an option which we use for your private instances to access internet. So you have operations. Error report. This is all for your developers. They use cloud trace, error reporting, cloud profile, all these things. For system operations guys, want to use cloud logging, like your cloud trail. So you have stack driver monitoring, Kubernetes. You have developer tools. So whatever you want, they have services. So the important ones, let's look into. Okay. So these are everything you have services. If you want to migrate, also they have services. In case you want to migrate from on-premises, you migrate services for Compute Engine or Anthos or VM migration. Directly, you can also import VM from on-premises. You have an option in your VMs. Containers. This is the main fundamentals of Google Cloud. So you have Google Kubernetes Engine and container registry. You can have a private registries within your Google Cloud. Now, under featured products, let's start looking into. First one is your Compute Engine. Let me show each one. So Compute Engine is again categorized into different types, like general purpose, compute optimized. General purpose means, for example, let's consider that you have an application, like a test application, which does not require high CPU or high memory or something like this, like a normal web service. You want to go for this. You want to use compute optimized in case if it is more of a process based, like your OTP applications or transactions for that. Memory you want to use for example, like a SAP applications. So you need to decide which type is it, and they can accordingly can choose this. The important features why you want Google Cloud is light migration of VMs. So in case there is some problem with one host, you can also do a live migrate of your servers on VM, talking about to a different server that could be achieved in here. And they have some internal features for managing OS patch management. So might be, for example, in your other clouds, for example, you might want to use a patch management separately or use system manager, but this comes internally here itself. You can have a dedicated physical service in Google Cloud, which gives you compliance requirements, and you can define licenses also. And you can also get in your licenses. So lots of customers like Target, and you see lots of customers, they use Spotify as a music application, quite famous. There's a PayPal, so finance. So financial companies are using it. So you can see that what trust they have in Google Cloud. And you see documentation, very good documentation you have. And you can find all the features. So for example, I want to see all the features. I click on view all features. So you have a predefined machine types. That is, you need to choose one among the types of what they have. You can also do the custom. Custom means you can say how much of CPU you want, how much of memory you want, you can do it. Preemptible, I talk about for a short-term instances, wherein like you can bid for the instances and it comes to your account if you want the bid, but you might lose it when you someone bids more. You have light migration for VMs. Disk are persistent, so again your SSD or SSDs. You can't rely on the physical server storage, correct? That is temporary. So you want to use persistent disk like a laptop C drive, D drive, so that even if a VM goes away or you stop it, the data does not go. And in default, they always use SSDs. For some of them, I think you don't even get an option. I think Compute Engine, you don't even get an option to HDD because they want applications to be high performant. GPU accelerators they have, then the load balancing is global, support for Linux and Windows, per second billing. So you see here so many options they have, right-side recommendations, lots of advantages of using Google Cloud. This is your first, this is the first one. Next one is your cloud storage. So cloud storage, we're talking about in here, like your object storage, like S3 I'm talking about, which could be accessed over internet. So it is a very durable storage because they're going to replicate the data internally, and it's very, very cheap. And where do you want to use this? This is where you use for content delivery, backups, data lakes, all these things, we use it. And again, for example, cloud storage again have different types, correct? Standard, for example. So when you create any object, it will be default as standard, which will provide you very good performance and high frequency. But that is a bit costly. So you might want to throw for near line or code line, which is slower. So once in less than a month, you want to use to near line. If you want to use still less once a quarter, you can go on to code line archive. Again, for doing this, for example, in other clouds like your lifecycle manager, similarly, you have object lifecycle management. It means that if you have 1,000 files of standard, if you want them to automatically move to other types, I have a features within console and which they go and say that after so many number of days, move these specific objects to different types. You can define that. And you see here the use cases. You can also see the use cases for each and everything. You can see the use cases where they use, for example, for your ML, machine learning. So cloud storage is used for multiple purposes, not only for your service. It also for backups. It also used for any integration of machine learning or big data, content storage, delivery, backups. Okay, these are very important things we talk about. Cloud storage is being used. And again, you can integrate with third-party tools. So all I see, third-party tools you can integrate. So the main thing is you can also versioning is wherein you can, if you're having any program codes, if you have multiple versions of it, you can version it. Or you can also protect your objects by using object lock so that it cannot get deleted. And lifecycle management is you define a condition as to when you want to transit from a standard to the other types, retention policies. Either you can use your own keys, or again, you want to use your Google Cloud keys. Either it supports your normal AES, or you can use your KMS. KMS is a key management service. And your ACLs, requester pays, wherein you can say that the billing must happen to people who is managing the project. So lots of options you see for your storage, and pricing is very, very cheap. So you can again see the pricing is quite cheaper compared to, take some time. So this is in brief about your storage. Now SDK, what is the SDK? SDK is how I can access. So for example, let me show you the console. This is my console, correct? So when I click on the first time in here, so this is my page. So I can also access this is your console. I can also use the CLI option from here. This is where you want to use SDKs. You can use like gcloud commands or something. You click, I will click on, it's already there. If you close this now, see, it's populated. This is where I can also run in commands, or I interact with my Google Cloud using this. That is your SDK. So SDK is all about how you can interact using your CLIs. You have an SDKs for default is a default gcloud. So gcloud you can use for compute engine, and for cloud storage you have gsutil. For Bigquery you have some BG. So you have also specific tools for some services. In simple, you can access from them from a command line. You can do the same process what you did, but it sometimes gives you more options. You can write in scripts or upload files from outside. All those options you'll be having it. So key features are your gcloud command line tool. You also have client libraries. So in brief, this is what I'm talking about. gcloud tool you can use. This is your specific to SDK. SDK is again specific to a for example, I want to use SDK for Python. Yes, you need to use the Python, for example, like interface, wherein it can use the interfacing the API using SDKs. GSUtil for your storage. When you want to work with your buckets, you can use the commands. BQs for your BigQuery, that is your big data, like a data warehouse. Specific commands, so kubectl, which you use for Kubernetes, how to interact with your cluster, use this. So you have in some services for Cloud SQL here. Similarly, for your SQL, for example, you want to work with your SQL-based services, you have it. So this is your platform as a service, Cloud SQL. You can still install your databases on VMs, but in infrastructure as a service, you need to manage patches, correct? You need to manage your operating system patches, updates, and all. So if you go something for this, fully managed, it means that they help you for backups, they help you for upgrades, they help you for patches, and they also help you to do a recovery quite easily. So you can concentrate on your actual day-to-day operation rather than the maintenance. That is what we're talking about here. Reduce maintenance costs, ensure business continuity, automate your work. That is, you can also define to auto scale your storage. Also, you can define, and also easy integration with other services. So it's fully managed as the first one, and they provide a 99.95% SLA. This integrated other services, quite reliable. So they are compliant because databases are very, very critical, correct? So databases contains customers' information. So you need to have in compliance for the databases for sure. And where do you use, for example, where does this it comes in? You can also see some diagrams like in the show here. So something like this. So for example, if this is your architecture, always first users hit the load balancer. This is your zone or the subnets I'm talking about. And again, subnet inside this. This is your application service. The application service would communicate to your database. So you see your primary and secondary. You can also create easily primary and secondary using this. You have an option just to check the box, and you see it is synchronous because it is again within one region in here. So you have in Cloud SQL for MySQL HA, you see HA, Postgres HA, and SQL is quite scalable. You can scale it automatically for storage, very high performance and easily integrable. Backups could be automatically taken, or you can also do it manually. Point time recovery, and you can migrate databases from on-premises. So lots of features for your database also. And your Kubernetes engine, wherein you can work with your container orchestration, could be done. So you already have a cluster. You're not even manage a cluster. You already have a cluster. You just start the cluster, for example, and easily manage. You can download the images on it quite easily and modify. It again comes to integrate with your monitoring. For example, like a stack driver, your Kubernetes gets monitored. It's all about pods. So pod is the minimal unit. Pod means it's a like a what do you call a container, what do you call, like a box in which you can have multiple containers and shared resources. The minimal unit in Kubernetes is a pod, so that you can have your communication to happen much more effectively using pods. So you can do auto scaling of your pod. So these are native features. The Kubernetes came in from this specific product. So similarly, you have your BigQuery for data warehouse. Next one is important. I just want to show you operations. So what is operations? Operations all about how can you keep track of who is logging in, what did they do, and how is the service running, like monitoring your services, monitoring even your developer debugging, for example. All this could be done using operations, which comes with multiple things. One is your cloud logging, which is going to completely log in the activities of users, however they're logged in. Cloud monitoring is going to use your stack driver. So you have in multiple features for this log management, product monitoring, visualization, edge monitoring, service, and all these things. Yeah. So This is in brief about the various services. Yes, so this is all we saw about it. I just want to talk to you the same in here. So IaaS, PaaS, Vista. So you have different products and compute, storage, big data. They support compute products like App Engine, which is for your development normally used in specific platforms. Container Engine, Compute Engine. Then you have Bigtable for NoSQL. Cloud storage is your your S3. This is what we saw, all these things. This again, both are NoSQL, but this is normally used for your big data, more specific for big data. This is again used for different use cases for NoSQL. Then you have Bigquery here. So let me just show for big data. Big data, it looks something like this. So big data is all about how you can collect the data from external. For example, let's consider that you want to get in some weather information. The information comes from multiple resources, might be Twitter or Google, all these things. You want to first get the data. That is called ingestion. So you can get the data using any of these tools. And then you stream the data like Kinesis, for example, cloud data flow. And once you get it and process it, for example, again, internally, they might be using Hadoop, some frameworks. Then the data is stored in data warehouse. This is your data warehouse, BigQuery storage. And inside this, you can run in tools like your tools like Cloudflow, all this for analysis, like your BI Cognos tool, same like this. So Big Analytics is something that's going to give you the output in a specified format. So all this is part of your cloud big data. So you have services for all of them. And for machine learning, they have vision API, speech API, translate API. I don't get into machine learning, but you have services in machine learning. So cloud, the Google Cloud, as of now, is quite famous for big data and machine learning. So you can consider them to be the top as of now for these two services. But for storage and compute, compute also coming up, but storage I think is still lacking in. So if you want to go for big data and machine learning, first you want to give first, can we choose Google Cloud? If you're looking for containers and Kubernetes, also you want to think about, can we first think about Google Cloud? And obviously, when you want to move to any specific cloud, you want to do a POC with at least two clouds. For example, you want to go Google Cloud as well as with Amazon Azure, for example, and see about the cost. And the main thing is your application must work fine, correct? It must work fine. It must have good performance. The cost or the second thing you want to think of. First thing, whether application works or not. So you want to take a call based on the features once you understand it, and then you would go to the specific cloud. So Google Cloud, the unique difference is you need to first create a project. So a project would segregate the resources. For example, I can have different projects, and in that project, I can create my resources. So why do you want to use this? So you can keep track of the billing of each project. You can enable billing of specific services in this. You can manage your access credentials. So very specifically, you can manage it separately, like a logical separation of your resources. You can have it. So how does it look? Your project page, once you go into this is your home page of Google Cloud. This is how I can have multiple projects. So I can create a project. So your project screen would look something like this. So it would have a project name, project ID, and project number, and you can add this. You can project settings. You can go ahead and give in permissions. So for example, I want to give permissions in here. So I can go into like IAM in this, for example. And you see members and roles. This is where you can add in members and give the appropriate roles. So you would be having three types. I mean, I think it's also changed now. You see, these are older ones: editor, owner, and viewer. Editor is something like modifiable, owner, complete permission, viewer. Nowadays, for each and every service, also you can choose it. It is quite old, but still for each and every service, you can choose this where you can do it for a specific project. Click on it, and choose a specific type of roles and assign to a specific service account, and they can access it, all these things. Again, I go back in here, I'll click on the project. You can click on the project and go to the projects page. And you can, for each and every project, you can see whether there's one, you can find, billing, all this. You can separate so that you can easily keep track of what is happening. And you also see recommendations. They recommend you, based on some free account, taking some time, you would see the recommendations. Yes, so team, this is all about the three. I just want to talk about these are so owner invites and remove members, complete privileges. Editor is going to deploy, modify codes, happens. Viewer is assign read-only access, and billing administrator. So you can create multiple types. So again, you have something called primitive role, which is quite old, or you can also go to IAM specific roles and give the access. Both are possible. And you can access using console here or your workspace. So what is your SDK is the same. I go to console, I close this correct. The first time you might want to configure G-Cloud or the SDK. So when you click on this from the console, directly you can have, or if you want, you can also create, install a separate command and also you can install it. So it is going to initiate it and I've logged into the same project. So for example, I want to list some information. So compute, or just use up arrows, I have some commands. So for example, I want to, so describe region, 1 second. So it's going to show you all the compute regions in which you can deploy. And again, in this, you can add in tabs for different projects, an open editor, your options for uploading the files, downloading the files, all these things you can define here. This also takes some storage. So either you can use this or in a console, for example, first time console will look something like this. And under the home, click on home, click on it. This is how. Actually taking some time. So when you click here, it'll go to, you have options in here, for example, compute, app engine, all these things, you can find it here. Marketplace, you can find it here. All the specific, whatever you want, services. So first you have everything under here. All the services are listed in here. Operations, tools, and your big data tools, AI tools, everything is given here. Either you can go here also or here also. So for example, first time you want to get started, you want to click on getting started, new to the cloud. And it also gives you recommendations as to how you can go and learn. So you can, it has, you see here options, you can go and, for example, I want to go to this, I can go into this here also. Initially you get options to learn and all the options you get it. Yes, this is how you access. For example, I want to search here, I can also search here compute. You can search here, different options to search. And this is your help button. This is what, for example, creating a VM, you can see what is happening in here, the notifications. And under this, you can modify or do all the options you have. This is how you can start using your Google Cloud platform. Yes, so this is about my demo. Once I'm talking, I'm going to do a demo for creating a VM. I'm going to talk about what is a Google Cloud VM and how to work with this. Any questions till now, you can ask me. Any questions on what is Google Cloud, why Google Cloud, how it works, you can ask me. So let me do an option to unmute them or chat.
Chaitanya, tell me.
Yeah. Okay, fine. You can go on mute, Ramesh. So team, any questions we have?
Hi Chaitanya.
Yes.
Just a small question. Like when we are planning to move on-premise database or services to cloud, and should we have the knowledge on all the cloud services like AWS, Oracle, or Azure, and then decide, or can we any specific based on client requirement we can go?
Yeah, see, if the client is very specific, you want to go into this. But if the client does not have knowledge, you need to tell them that let's go like this. Are you clear? So, depends on the requirement. The client is very specific that you want to
Basically,
go
what all things basically what all things to start with we can go through the to list on top. Is it pricing or compatibility?
Sorry, it's breaking.
No,
Okay,
just wanted to
so
know.
your question is, how do I decide which cloud, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So first thing is you want to first check whether it's compliant, correct? So the first thing, if it's not compliant for your applications or a specific region, no use. First thing you want to see security and compliance, okay? Second one is you also want to look into the cost comparison, okay? Third one, parallelly, you also want to do a POC and check whether is it running on your Google Cloud, for example. Is it opening the applications better than on other clouds, the performance on the performance test. And fourth one, also you want to look into whether the people who are working in your company, are they comfortable to move on to Google Cloud? So these are things you want to look into it. Are you clear? First one, security compliance. Second one is your cost. Third one is whether it is working fine. And fourth one is comfort of your company to move on to Google Cloud or the people who are supporting Google Cloud. And you do a POC, see the results, compare results of cost and these with multiple clouds and check which cloud you want. You also want to look into support, all multiple factors, but this is how we start. Yeah?
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions, team?
Hello, Chaitanya?
Yes.
Can you explain in more detail about containers?
Containers.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I think it was in compute, correct? Let me go to products, compute. Specifically talking about Google Container Engine, or you are talking about Kubernetes, which you're talking about?
No. Only containers, not specific for Kubernetes.
Okay, so I think that you're not right. So containers is all about how you could have. So how to show you this? In generic container, you want to know, right? What's a container, correct?
Yes.
So let me just give you a very basic so that you can understand containers versus VMs. Okay, let me open document from docker.com. So this is your VM, okay? This is a physical server and a hypervisor. You know about VMs?
Yeah, I know. I know about
Yes.
VMs.
Yes, this all. Now, the challenge with VM is it has an operating system, correct? Because of this, the size is big. And also performance issues. And it is not easily portable to different platforms. Because of this, what technology came in called Docker or containers. Containers means containers work directly on the host operating system of the server. For example, on-prem server, physical, virtual, whatever is it, you need to have an operating system, preferably Linux. Inside that, you install software like Docker, which is going to use for managed containers. Then you download images from Docker Hub, and from that you create a container. So it will have, for example, you want Apache. What we do in VM, we log into the VM, correct? We use yum install HTTPD, all these things. In containers, you will not do it. For example, I can directly go to dockerhub.com, okay? And I would go to and search for Apache. For example, I want to install Apache. So I'll search for an image named Apache or HTTPD. And I would download the image on my machine in which I've installed Docker. And from that, I create a container. So containers are taking some time. Containers normally would have only the application related files, nothing else. Does not have a OS. That's the main difference. And because of it's very lightweight, easily portable. It's all about images. You need to get the images and you containers.
Chaitanya?
Yes.
Yeah, image is nothing but a piece of a definition, right?
Are you getting good? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm
Ramesh,
hearing.
can you hear me? Yes. So for example, I would search for in Docker Hub. So when I open this image, the latest version, for example, this image, I would download it on my system, like a Docker pull the image name. And from this, I'll create a container. So the container would have everything. For example, the base operating system, it has the specific environments. You have your Apache files, all those environments, ports, everything is there. So you just need to create a container from this, like an instance of an image. That is your container. Are we clear? So that would have your Apache up and running. You need not again install Apache also. You just take an image on the machine in which you have Docker, pull the image and create a container from that. That is a container. That would have your application up and running. Yes? Are we clear? Hello?
Yes, Chaitanya.
Okay. Any other questions, team?
Yeah. Hello, Chaitanya?
Yeah.
Yeah, in storage type in AWS, 3 types of storage type is there, right? High availability, durability, some percentage number is there, 99.999. Like that in GCP, how much percentage is there? Can you explain me in detail about
so when you go to wait, 1 second. When you go to products, this is your cloud storage. Yeah, click on it, and it says 99. This is your standard type. So I click on standard type. Okay, this is equivalent to S3 standard. So I click on. I think it's also 99.995 or something here.
What is the durability?
Availability.
Availability. Okay, durability.
Durability is same 11 nines.
11.
I think 12 nines. So just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think same as 11 nines durability. Yeah. Okay. We can fit in documentation.
Yeah.
11 nines.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chaitanya, one more.
Okay, very similar to the same. We can think about same it is. But in this, in your Google Cloud, you can also use GS util. You can use GS util using which you can integrate or work with your cloud storage. But you don't have in that. You need to still use a normal commands for interacting. But in this, you have separate ability to work with the cloud storage also from your CLI. Okay. So now let me do a demo. Others,
Chaitanya, one more query.
are you good to go for a demo? Let me. Yes, please tell me.
Hello. Yeah, Chaitanya, is there?
One second.
It is
Once it's
required
breaking.
for.
So question by Matan is major advantage. Sorry, it's breaking. Sorry, it's breaking. I can't hear you.
Hello. Chaitanya, are you audible?
Can you please use the chat? Ramesh, are you able to hear him? Okay, question by Matanas, major advantages. Team, are we using web camera? Anyone using camera? Because it is giving a bandwidth issues. If you're using any camera, please turn off. Okay, could you please ask your question once more? Am I audible, team?
Yes, Chetan.
Okay, so I'm not sure it's lost. So let me show you a demo as to how to create your instances. Okay. So you need to be logged in to your compute, your console, for example. First thing is you log in and you click on VM instances. You get an option either create, import, or take the quick start. So I click on create. Now you can give the name of your instance, like instance 1. Choose the region where you want. Choose the zone where you want. And your different type, general purpose, memory optimized, and compute optimized. So you go general purpose, you go when you're uniform CPU and memory if you want. Memory optimized, you go when you want, for example, more memory compared to your vCPU. Compute optimized, you go for your transaction processing like your banking applications. So based on your requirement, you choose this. So to general purpose, for example, and you see under each one, you have again shared code, standard, sizes are defined. You can choose any size, for example, in here. And what is the image you want to use? So I use in here like a CentOS and the version. Again, you can choose as your boot disk, standard persistent disk. I'm choosing here and click on select. And then what is the privilege? You're using a default service account or default access. Enable firewall rules. And you can click on this to get in more information, security. You can also use your keys and disk encryption, networking. All these are other options which you can do it. So I'm just taking this. Once you're done all these things, I repeat once more. Choose your instance, choose the region and the zone, choose the type and choose the image and allow the traffic and just click on create. It is going to create your VM in a minute. So it gives you an internal IP. This is your NIC card. This external IP, and you can connect. You have multiple options to connect. Open a browser. So, for example, when you click on View G-Cloud command, it also gives the exact command using which you launched it. So you can also directly run from your Cloud Shell. So you can also see that instance is going to same. You can see the output in here also same instance. Now let's see what got created. So you can use this is how you can use these screens. Click on your instance. and observe what got created. So you see that it got created your instance or different type, specific details. You can find all the details of your VM in here. You can modify, you can again create an image of it. All this you can do it in here. And you see it also launched in using your CLI. Now other option is I can use open in browser window, for example. So you have multiple options to connect. Even if you want, you can also create a key pair of yours, and you can use the key pair. So lots of options you have for connecting your VMs. So we will now log into the VM and we'll install Apache, and we will see if Apache got properly installed. That is what we're trying to do it in here. So I logged into the instance. So if you want, you can do a sudo su or here. So you want to install Apache, for example, the same, just example I'm just doing here, Apache install. Apache's package name, service name is HDPD. And choose yes for install. Now next one is you want to start the service, correct? So service HTTPD start is done. So how do you check it? I can copy the public IP. The public IP is default is ephemeral. It means that it will change, not a static one. So just for checking whether it got properly installed, you see that Apache got installed. So it is just an example I'm showing you. This is how you can work with your VMs. So you need to just go ahead and create it. And later, if you want to stop, reset, all these things you see here. And this
Can
one,
we use putty dot party tool like putty?
yes, you can use that. Yes. And apart from this, when you go to your VPC and look into the external IPs, okay, the default one which gets created is ephemeral, like a dynamic. So you can also convert it to a static one and reserve it. So this is where you can do all those things. And if you want to modify firewall setting, either there you can go, or it would have taken from here. You can see this. So this is your default firewall rules, which was allowed. You can modify the default one was allowed. Allow HTTP, HTTPS, because we chosen that. Icmp for pinging, internal communications, and SSH. All is allowed. If you want, you can create a specific firewall rules from here. The default routes is under routes, you can say default routes which was used. So these were default routes which allowed for you to create and log into a specific network. So I can again go back in here. So this is how I can go back. You can compute engine and then go to VM instances. And if you want to see more details about this, click on view network details. So you go network. So here. So this is your primary interface card. This is your instance. The service account was used, which was the port allowed. So default, no policy allowed right now. Default firewall tools. These all traffic was allowed right now. You can again go and modify or changes you can do it. Routes, how the network is happening. And you can again modify all these options. You can look into it. Yes. So this is in brief about how you can create VMs. And apart from this, for example, you want to create an image of it. For example, let's consider that you created a VM, and from next time you do not want to use from here, just go ahead and choose your instance, and you will have an option to create the image of this machine because we have installed Apache, correct? So I can choose that I want this for my Apache. So like a vanilla template or a golden template, talk about that image, Apache image and source image. Before this, you want to go inside and remove unnecessary ports, all these things, and you create it. So from next time, I will not go to the actual ones. I will go to this image, and from this, I'll create a new VM. This is your machine images or your custom image you talk about, or golden templates. All this you can do it, and you can stop it, and all this thing could be done faster. For example, you can also observe how fast it stops and starts. So when I stop it, and you can also observe this when you open Cloud Shell, you can observe what is happening. We just closed it, so still the session is there. You can see that. Now I can, again, it's just getting stopped. So you can stop it, delete it, all these things you can do, and you can see what is happening. It is where you can see the notifications as what's happening, taking some time. Either you can stop it from here or from here, the different options. Yes, team, this is all about the demo of your VMs. So you can stop, delete, all these things, you can do it. And once you're done, you just need to go ahead and delete. So you're unable to log in because it is connection timed out. It is still stopping, lost the connection. So wait for some time and then you need to succeeded information. So you see that the IP gets released because it's dynamic public IP. So next time we start in different physical server. So for avoiding this, you want to create a static IP. So now once I now create it again, now you see that it'll take a new IP, which is your dynamic public IP. So you can override by attaching to the static public IP. I'll just show you the output will change, IP will change, succeeded, the new IP. And now I click on this also. Taking some time. So once you are done with all the operations, if you do not want, either you can have it stopped or you could have it deleted. So I'm going to delete this. Yeah.
Within how much
This is all.
will we charge per VM?
How much will charge the?
Yeah.
So it's per second models. Linux VMs are per second models. So how many seconds? That's it.
Okay.
Minimum, I think. Yeah. Very, very
Is
cheap.
there any way used to free of cost like AWS? In the AWS, we have 1 year free tier, right?
I told them right initially. So you have free trial for $300 US.
Okay, okay.
300 USD. So any free account is $300 US free of cost,
Okay.
which you can use it for 1 year.
Is it for all services, right?
So in simple, based on the service charges, for example,
Yeah.
they'll remove the money. Getting it?
Yeah.
In Amazon, you don't get a credit, but in this you get a credit, and whichever is something chargeable, they'll get it from yours, and you are also free, which is you can free, but again others will go. But anyway, it's only 12 months. After 12 months, even that also you cannot use it. You need to go to a new subscription, like a developer or enterprise or premium you want to migrate. Yeah. Yes, team. Any other questions?
Yeah, Chaitanya. Can you?
Yes, Amma, tell me.
Yeah, if I'm using for the training purpose and testing purpose, and I want to waive off, is it possible to waive off as well? The way we do The regarding 300 credit.
What do you mean waive off? You mean to say you do not want to not?
No. Actually, I want to testing each and every services of the Google,
Okay.
and it will exceeded above 300. Is it possible? Means like the 500 might be the charges would be. So I need to waive off. So will it be possible?
How can you waive off? So what you can do is you need to create one more account if Google allows you. Simple, correct? So obviously they cannot give everything for free, correct?
Yeah.
Create one more account.
But the way we are using the AWS, so it could be the 20,000 or 30,000. So if you are using it within one, we can waive off like that. So that's what I'm saying.
See, if you're using a free tier, nobody will waive off. Okay, if you're using any developer support or those things, then they'll give you discounts. But for free tier, generally nobody will waive off. So that is something you have to discuss. This is not part of this. That's very personal. You want to think about it. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Any other questions?
Chaitanya?
Yes, tell me.
Yeah. In AWS, some custom AMICs are there, right? But which flavor I need to select and all those things. With the third-party custom marketplace, is there any backup or storage like that in Google is providing, or can you show me one of the slides?
I just showed how to create. I showed you, na? Just now.
Yeah, you create a short when marketplace. See, is AWS is providing for backup Commvault as a free trial. So is the same as Google is providing or not?
Yes.
I mean.
So go to marketplace, search for marketplace. Okay. Everything the same. We'll get all those things. Go to marketplace, choose your product, what you want. So which one you want? For example, you want Juniper, for example. Okay. Search for Juniper.
Okay.
Yes. Same thing you can do. Same. Yeah, can you ensure the background guys, please? Same. Click on launch 30-day trial. Same thing is allows you. Very similar. Go to this marketplace, choose your service, and click on launch. Am I clear?
Same like you can select you can search it for Commvault. Maybe it is free trial is there or available.
Search na. So for example, you go in, it will be there. Yes, Kim, any other questions? Specific questions of yours, products, those things you have to look into it, correct? We're talking about here a demo about how that works. You want to search for it, I'm not sure. Marketplace is very in the third-party softwares. So it's not coming in Commvault. Juniper is there. So might be they're not giving you.
AWS is providing Commvault also as free trial. So whether Google is providing for that all I ask.
That's what you need to go and search. You can't remember. Yes, everything.
Okay,
products. Yes. Okay, guys. Anything else? Ramesh, you want to take control now? I'm done from my end. Thank you, team. So if you have any questions anytime, you can also contact Micronet.
Yeah, thanks, Chetan.
Yes, Ramesh, you want to conclude?